It's Hot 937 Hartford's number one for hip hop and R&B. I'm so honored to have Agnes Mo in the building today. What's up, girl?
I'm good.
How you doing?
I'm good.
All right, so I want to tell you something, okay?
Yeah.
I respect you fully with your music. I think you're awesome, amazing. But the first time I actually discovered you was on Chris Brown's Instagram. A while back.
Oh my god.
And I was like, at the time, I was like,
we went there right away. no, we just go there.
and so I was like, I
question.
know because Chris, I've been like interviewing Chris since he was like a little kid.
Right.
I've been in this game for a while.
Right.
So long story short, I was like, I started like digging. And so I'm like looking at everything.
Oh my
And then
god.
I became obsessed with you. No, I'm kidding.
Oh.
No, but so I was like, I discovered you and I was like, wow, what an incredible artist you are, Agnes Mo.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank you so much. I mean, it's always been about the music. It's always been about the art. I mean, I've been doing this for a while too. And I think that's what needs to be the main focus, Like, I need to build the art and not the hype.
But you have built yourself, like you're a huge star. For anybody that's just discovering Agnes Mo, like myself, like a couple years ago, I was like, oh, who's this brand new artist who's, this super young chick? And then you go back and you look at Agnes Mo's history and you're like, oh, wait a minute, this woman is a self-made woman who is a huge star in Indonesia.
Yeah.
And wow, so we should, I'm honored to be sitting with you.
No, thank you so much for taking the time. Yeah, it's been quite a journey. It's been an amazing one. And I think, look at where I'm at right now, talking to you about my journey. So yeah, music is definitely, my shit.
Okay, so yeah, of course you have Overdose,
Yeah.
which is the new single with Chris Brown. You also have On Purpose. That's another single that you can get. And I know you had a project come out last year,
Yeah.
which was called X.
Yeah.
And that was actually your
Released independently.
Okay, released independently.
Yeah.
And that was your first project, with the English language. Am I correct in saying that?
Well, the first album that I released full English internationally.
Okay.
Because I did a couple of albums before, one album before that was kind of 50-50 English, Indonesian language, but that was released only in Asia.
Okay.
So yeah, you're right.
Okay. So what made you want to cross over? Because,
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's people thought that it's all about the fame and the money. Oh, you just want to conquer the U.S. or whatever, but it's not really about that. I've been dreaming to, learn from the best, and some of those people are, they happen to be here. Like Timbaland, I really wanted to be in the studio with him, and then I did that. I've been a huge fan of Jim Beam's Makiba, and then we did sessions together. Actually, Overdose, one of the songwriters is Jim Beam's. So it's just a learning process, and I feel again, some of the people that I really want to work with are based out here in the U.S. That's the main focus. Really.
Okay, I'm just curious because years ago I interviewed Prince Royce, and Prince Royce always put out Spanish-speaking music,
Right.
and he's such a humongous star, and I was like,
Right.
well, what would make you take that risk?
Yeah.
So did you feel like it was a risk at the time?
Oh,
or?
absolutely. But the thing is, again, I as an artist, I always try to cross that. You know what I mean? I don't want to be afraid. And I think it's so much better because I always use my platform, even when I only have my Asian platform, I always try to use my platform to share another message, not just my music. And that's kind of my biggest passion, And I feel by expanding my market, by expanding my audience, that gives me even a broader, market for me to or platform for me to share my message, and that's the reason as well. I am actually producing and also shooting my docu-series. It's called I Am. The tagline is I Am Me, my own version of me. So basically, that focuses on encouraging the younger generation to focus on, finding out who they truly are, finding out their identity, be proud of who they are, not listening to the noises, so stuff like that.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's
yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
What will we learn about you in this docu-series?
Basically it's all about my point of view, right? Because especially when you're under the spotlight, it's so easy for you to lose yourself to, the noises out there. People are trying to tell you who you are.
Right.
Instead of listening to you know, who you actually are, what you actually are. They're telling you who you're not, or who you are.
Mm-hmm.
They're telling you, oh, who to date. Oh, you're supposed to be with this guy, not with that guy. Oh, wait, like you're from Asia though. Like, why do you sing like that? Oh, you're supposed to be like this. So they always try to put us in their little boxes. So that docu-series basically, you know, show them that, okay, I've heard enough. I've heard of all the noises that you're trying to tell me. I'm supposed to be like this. I'm supposed to be like that. But this time I'm going to tell you my version of me. You know, so you know, some of the things that people think that I would love. Oh, Agnes loves fashion. That means Agnes loves shopping. No, like I hate shopping. You know, oh, Agnes loves performing. Oh, I'm sure like she loves being on the road. No, like no, I hate that. You know, like I'm a homebody. So stuff like that. That's just kind of like combining what people thought I like with what I actually like. Yeah,
I like that.
And owning that. You know, owning that.
I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so getting back to you being such a huge deal out there in Indonesia, you actually started in this business as a child.
Yeah.
Correct? So how old?
Absolutely.
You were like a little kid. So how old were you when you actually started?
So I started singing when I was 3 years old, but I grew up singing at church, and then I released my first single when I was 6 years old. Yeah. So
What was your first single? What was it called?
It's called Si Meong.
Okay, what does that mean?
So Si Meong means pussycat.
Like a little pussycat. Okay, all right. It's not a little pussycat.
But it's always like there's always that reaction whenever I tell people, yeah, so my first song is, oh man, I don't know how much to say it. It's a kitty cat. It's a kitty
Well, you were
cat.
6.
And
so
then
cool.
and then so people were like, got it. Like there's always that pause. And it's like, okay, cool.
But you're a little kid.
Exactly.
I got kids.
Yeah,
I can identify. Okay. I've been listening to Lion King, the soundtrack in my car the last few
Absolutely.
days. Because my son, for some reason, wants to keep hearing that.
Yeah.
So, no, I get it. So, you were 6 years old. Wow.
Yeah.
So, how did your parents even get you involved in all this?
Man, that's actually kind of a coincidence because both of my parents are actually former national athletes. So I've always wanted to be an athlete.
Okay.
Actually. And then they just saw me like constantly singing in the bathroom and in front of the mirror, and I always like mimic this one news anchor and then just hosting my own show in front of the mirror. And
they just knew.
And they were like, I think this girl loves entertainment. And so after that, it was kind of like, I think there was like an after school program for dancing and singing, and I was one of them. I was, basically active in that program. And then there was a talent search, if I'm not mistaken, and that lady came up to my mom and said, hey, do you want your daughter to have an album, like to put out an album? My mom was like, wow, are you crazy?
That's amazing.
No, my
she
mom,
could spot the talent.
Yeah, so I was like 5 years old at that time, and then my mom said, no, she's 5. What are you talking about? No, she's not putting out an album. And a year after that, that lady still was so persistent, asking my mom, ask the kid, ask your daughter, maybe she wants to put out an album. And then of course she asked me, and I said, yeah, I want it. I want to sing,
I want to be a superstar.
So yes, I just did it.
Did people buy it?
Yeah. I mean, I actually won my award as well. I think when I was like 9 or 10 years old for children's album,
Wow.
Yeah, so it's...
So like what, a Grammy or like a...
It was like a professional, it was kind of like that.
Okay.
Yeah, in Indonesia.
Okay.
Yeah, professional, quote-unquote, Grammy award there.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
Yeah, I mean, the cool thing about it is that I never wanted to be a superstar. I always wanted to sing. I know that. I've always known that. I want to sing, but I've never had the dream to like, oh, I want to be under the spotlight.
Well, you are now, girl.
Exactly. I know, but that's the
She's
thing.
like, get me out of here. I don't want this. All right, so from the singing, you actually did like TV and stuff, right?
Yeah.
In Indonesia?
Yeah, absolutely.
So how did you like break into that?
Again, it was kind of like it happened really organically. People just saw me. Probably I was just bubbly and just fun and really like, and people thought, oh, I think she would be great for this character. And so I played on one of like the legendary TV shows there, and then people just liked it. And
it was like a soap opera, right?
Yeah, exactly, soap operas. And I won my first Best Actress award when I was like 14, 15 years old.
Oh my God.
And it was just, you know,
it's like, where can you go from here? No wonder you came over here. You gotta like dominate the market here too.
You know what? That's actually a really good question, because that's the question that I constantly ask myself. Even when I was like 17, 18, around that age, I've always asked that. Okay, what else do you want?
Right.
You know? And
because,
then,
I mean, you're really like done a lot.
yeah, and so, but then what, right? Like, that's always the remaining question. Then what? Like, what else? And when I was 19 years old, I remember we held a press conference, and one of the press asked me, okay, Agnes, what else do you want in your life? And just spur of the moment, I said, you know what? I think I wanna go international. I wanna win my first Grammy. I wanna just, share my message to the world. I wanna, be a teacher to the world or whatever. And I didn't realize that it was such a huge controversy back then. People just calling me like, oh my gosh, like she's so arrogant to even think that she can, make it in Hollywood, for her to even, speak up.
Aren't you supposed to have that type of confidence? Like, what are they talking about?
Exactly. So that's when I realized that, you know what? This is actually bigger than myself. Like this is bigger than me. I really need to show, at least by my fans, that no matter where you came from, you can actually have dreams. Like, that dreaming is free, right? You know that to have dreams, it's
right.
free. Yeah. You can actually do it.
Right.
And that's when I kind of like found my calling. Oh, you know what? I really need to do this so then I can show people not about me, but about what you can do as a person.
So what's next though? Movies, I would assume?
I don't know. Hey, I mean, maybe.
You're like, the world is my oyster.
There's been a couple of offers, regarding that. But I'm really picky when it comes to my craft, my art. So I have to make sure that I really have the time to do it right. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to be just like, oh, as long as I'm in a movie, then that's cool. No, it's like, it has to be right. It has to be something that I love first for people to love.
Let me ask you a question. When you were on the soap opera, did they tell you that you had to at the end of the last line of it, both of you pause and look at the camera a certain way? Because I'm always like, when I look at these soap operas, I'm fascinated. They'll do a whole scene, and then they both just turn to the camera and they're like, they make the weirdest face, like, no. I mean, no, seriously, is that like a thing?
Actually, when I was younger, one director specifically asked me to do that, and I looked at him in his eye, and I said, I'm not doing that.
Because that is a thing, right? Am I right? That is a thing. Okay, I want to
That
be
is
sure.
the thing. That is the thing
never
for
talked
soap
to anybody
opera.
from soap opera,
That
so I
is
don't
the
know. I
thing.
always wanted to ask someone.
But I was like, I was that smart ass kid to say like, I'm doing that. I'm not doing that.
Like, you're about to make me look crazy as a director. So you have an album coming out, right?
So this one single is Overdose.
Overdose, yeah.
Featuring Chris Brown, obviously. And I think the next step would be the next single, just me by myself, and then after that, probably another single with Chris, and then after that, we're gonna release the album.
Okay. So what's going on? Like, what's the deal? Like, how did you and Chris Brown hook up? Like, how did you become friends to start working with each other?
We followed each other on Instagram probably like 2 or 3 years ago. This happened before we did the collaboration or whatever. And one day, I think we just decided to let's just go to a studio, play each other's music, play each other's new music. And so we did that. That was actually 2 days before I was supposed to go to Asia for some concerts. And we did that. And then Chris had this idea, hey, you know what? I think it would be great for you to feature on my album.
That's awesome.
So I did that on purpose.
Right.
That was for his deluxe album. And then after I went to it wasn't for a concert, it was for an awards show in Thailand, if I'm not mistaken. And I went there. Actually, I flew back to LA, and we started to be like, oh, you know what? Let's just go to the studio again and keep moving. Let's just vibe.
Right.
So everything really started organically. We just listened to a lot of beats and we just started writing. And at one point we sat down and we were like, wow, like we do have a project. We do have like a full complete project together.
So will there be a collabo album?
Yeah, probably. Like that's definitely the goal because we did 10 to 12 songs finished, like done already. And
why do you guys work so well together?
I don't know. I think it's just our love of music. I know that it's gonna sound cliche, but it's true though. You know, and that's, I think, especially, you know, the generation right now, the younger generation, and always they have this tendency to feel that it's all about the hype. You know what I mean? They
Right.
forget about the real thing, which is the music.
Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely.
And I think both of us are, you know, hard workers. We both love music. You know, it's in our blood. And the vibe and the energy in the studio, we just can't deny that. You know what I mean? And yeah, it's just a vibe. You know?
So you two look like you have like a lot of electricity between you, like y'all in the video and everything else I've seen. So
well, we just want to focus on the music for now.
I know, I understand that, but I'm just saying, though.
No, it was, you know, we really were, you know, we're friends. We support each other.
I mean, I'm only bringing that up because, listen, I don't just say that about just any two people.
Yeah.
Like, I understand for the video, y'all got a profile, act like y'all into each other and stuff, but I'm telling you when I say, like, when you see you two together, it don't look like it's just a working relationship. I'm being honest. Maybe I'm completely off here,
Right.
but it looked like even if you're saying, I don't want to be with you, he might be saying, I want to be with you.
Well, I don't know that. You need to ask him that. Because, you know, like, I think the relationship, right now, like, I you know, I respect him a lot, you know, as a friend, and I think, you know, the feeling is mutual. You know, we...
Do you guys
really,
talk every day?
Absolutely not.
Okay, because I was
Absolutely
saying, if
not.
y'all are talking every day.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Okay, all right. So,
you know, we
so I'm
keep it
assuming,
professional.
yes, you're just friends then.
Yeah,
okay.
we're friends. We
All
keep
right.
it professional.
Because if y'all were talking like every morning, I'd be like, I was like, yep, here we go.
No, we don't do that at all. You know, we talk about the project, you know, when we need to talk about the project. And, you know, just keep the focus on the music. And I think that's our focus right now.
I respect you for that.
Yeah.
All right. she said, yeah. He's like, I got through that one. All right. All right, Agnes Mo, well, thank you very much
you
for coming
so
in today.
much.
Congratulations on your
Thank
success,
you.
and you'll probably be winning some sort of Tony Award or something by next year. So we'll see you then. Okay, it's at 937.
Oh my God, I love you. I freaking love you.